Out of deference in respect to the time of our guests in attendance, do y'all mind if I bump number 9 up before we get, we got a stack of plats?
Yes.
All right, I'm gonna move item 9 up. This is consider an act on border security resolution in solidarity with Texas border counties. As our speakers have alluded to, this is something that began with declarations and resolutions from counties on the border, understandably, but you're seeing counties not on the border doing this as well, because it affects you in different ways no matter where you are in the state and in the nation, in fact. And so this is a way for us to show that we recognize the massive issue that's happening down there. We stand with those border counties that are dealing with a war zone, basically, in most of their counties. And it helps us make a statement as a county to say, hey, we know the state's having to do stuff because the federal government is not doing their job to secure the border, but there's more that needs to be done because we're not getting the job done yet, and it's still a massive problem. And I know the sheriff sees that all the time. And specifically in Wise County, what we have seen most impact from is the methamphetamine, and the sheriff's nodding back there. It used to be, and you've heard the sheriff talk about this before, it used to be the meth problem was fed by homegrown meth labs. Different regulations on materials has basically eliminated homemade meth labs, but now it's cartel meth coming from Mexico, and it's cheaper, it's industrial produced, and probably daily, Sheriff, there's a meth arrest in Wise County, I would venture to guess. So I would like to submit to the Commissioners Court this resolution, a resolution calling for additional measures to secure the border, stop the invasion at the border, and protect our communities. Y'all got to sit through my whereases here for a minute. So, whereas the preamble to the United States Constitution outlines the chief responsibility of the federal government is to ensure domestic tranquility and provide for the common defense. And whereas Article 4, Section 4 of the United States Constitution states that the United States shall guarantee to every state in this union a republican form of government and shall protect each of them against invasion. And whereas Article 4, Section 7 of the Texas Constitution clearly states that the Governor of Texas shall be Commander-in-Chief of the military forces of the state, except when they are called into actual service of the United States. He shall have the power to call forth the militia to execute the laws of the state, to suppress insurrections, and to repel invasions. And whereas cartels exploit weak and unsecure borders for their own power and profit to the detriment of our communities. And whereas cartels act as paramilitary narco-terrorist organizations that profit from trafficking people and drugs into the United States. And whereas the United States has a drug epidemic whereby tens of thousands of Americans die every year, and specifically Wise County has a major health and public safety issue with methamphetamines, which greatly impacts our communities, our families, our jail, our court system, and our other local resources. And whereas the U.S. Customs and Border Patrol reports that CPB agents seized 192,000 pounds of methamphetamine at the southern border just during 2021. And whereas the ongoing border security crisis is not acceptable and has resulted in a security threat and humanitarian disaster with overwhelming consequences to residents in the state of Texas. And whereas numerous Texas border counties experiencing local disaster situations as a result of inadequate border security have passed declarations and resolutions calling for further action and security on the southern Texas border. And whereas the Wise County Commissioners Court desires to express its support for those border counties and to express its desire for stronger border security measures which impact all of our Texas communities. Now therefore be it resolved that the Wise County Commissioners Court, number 1, recognizes our southern Texas border is suffering an invasion. Number 2, recognizes and affirms the sovereign and unilateral authority explicitly reserved to the states, respectively, under Article 1, Section 10 of the United States Constitution and Article 4, Section 7 of the Texas Constitution to defend themselves against invasion, which has been exacerbated by the federal government's failure in meeting its constitutional obligation to ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, execute the laws, and protect each state against invasion. Number 3, supports the state-led efforts of Operation Lone Star and the expanded operation authorities available under Article 1, Section 10 of the United States Constitution and Article 4, Section 7 of the Texas Constitution. And number 4, request Governor Abbott to take necessary steps as allowed under Article 1, Section 10 of the United States Constitution and Article 4, Section 7 of the Texas Constitution to secure the Texas border and stop the invasion at the border, including the actions by paramilitary narco-terrorist cartels that pose a huge risk to our communities. And number 5, calls on the federal government to uphold its duties to adequately secure and protect the borders of the United States. Presented to y'all for consideration.
Move approval.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. The motion carries. Thank you. Thank y'all for being here and expressing your thoughts on this. Appreciate it. You're welcome to stay and listen to the plats and other county business. It also, as you saw when Carrie left, it doesn't hurt our feelings if you bail either. So